Computer.
Oh,
Hey, LaShonda, how are you, darling?
girl, this weekend has been
Cray, cray.
busy. It's been so busy and so fantastic in all of the best ways. I am as happy as I could possibly be. And yeah, let's talk about what's happening.
Yeah. So before we do that, I'm going to start out and say, hi, I'm Angela.
And hi, I'm LaShonda.
And we are.
A Black woman and a white woman walk into a bar.
And this is our 13th episode, right? Is this our lucky 13?
Lucky 13. Lucky 13's coming on a good weekend too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so crazy about your weekend?
I posted that I'm making orders for Shonda Butter, which is my body butter and scrub that I make. And the orders started rolling in. As I was making the orders that I got in the early half of the day and shipped on Friday, more orders, more make orders for Saturday were coming in.
Look at you go.
So it was,
and I know that you ran out of 8-ounce jars because we were talking about it the other night. You were like, I'm out of 8-ounce jars.
I was like, oh my God, since when? I think it's since I've been speaking up about it. So what lesson learned, a little bit of saying, hey, I'm making good stuff for you. If you want some, let me offer you. You know what I mean? A little bit of that goes a long way. So yes, my house smells crazy. It smells so good in here.
I'm getting mine finally, right? My scrub.
You are getting yours.
Which flavor? What flavor? Aren't you getting me? Wasn't I doing the scrub? I don't even know what you're getting, what I'm getting. But the more important thing is what flavor. What was the flavor? So we went with the Earl Grey one, right?
No, I thought you said you liked the Woods one.
No, the Earl Grey we were talking about. But I don't. But you
can. I'm gonna have to make you an Earl Grey one then.
Okay, but whatever. I'm sure it'll be lovely, whatever it is. Yeah, because I don't expect to be, I expect to be bottom of the list because I think I'm getting a discount, right, on this one, and then yeah.
Girl, I don't know about this discount talk.
Just for one, you made it clear it was just for one. You made that clear.
I don't know about this discount talk.
I think we said something about this, but we can talk about that later. We'll talk about that off camera. How's that?
Girl.
Did you notice what I did? I just changed I keep forgetting to change my name. It still shows up with my married name. And I keep forgetting to change it on my account. So I have to go in and manually change it because I don't want to see my married name anymore.
On your Zoom account?
Yeah. Everything's on
that.
I know. I keep forgetting to change it on the main, main settings.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, but it'll.
I got props, girl. Do you want to know about props?
Yeah, I do.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Don't say nothing about me walking on camera.
I'm gonna vamp. No, I'm just gonna vamp while you're doing that. I'm gonna vamp. I'm going to say that we talked about, and first I want to talk about my hair because I was having really good hair today. These things are important. I was having really good hair today. And then I went out in the snow. It's snowing here in New York again. And I went out in the snow this morning to get my COVID test, which I'll talk about in a second. Can you hear the sirens of New York in the background?
I do.
So I went out in the snow and it was really wet snow. Is that slushy kind of, it's pretty because it sticks and it's fluffy, but it's like really wet. So by the time I got to the place, my hat was completely soaked. So my hair got soaked and then I had to run some more errands. So by the time I got home, my hair was all weird. So that's the problem with wearing a hat in the winter.
Or not an umbrella. Because I used to bring an umbrella out when it snowed.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, but.
It sleeted in Atlanta yesterday. I was like, I got back, I got into the car and I was like, what is this falling? And why is it bouncing? Because it was like drop, doop, drop, doop. I was like, well, what is that?
So why didn't I hear
I
from
looked
you?
at my, huh?
Why didn't I hear from you complaining about how cold it was?
Girl, because it was maybe, I don't know how cold it was yesterday because I was literally in and out. I wasn't even wearing socks.
And it was, yeah, that's not, yeah.
It's so pathetic. I was wearing literally a pair of slip-on sneakers because I was like, oh, I got to run 2 errands exactly. So I went to run 2 errands exactly. And then I was sitting in, when I ran the second errand, which was a trip to UPS, I was sitting there just quietly listening to the sound of the rain. What was rain on the ground, my car, the surroundings? It just felt so good. And then I went across the way to Target. I went in there to grab something random. I can't remember what. I think it was Kashi. I think I went to get Kashi. Anyway, I went to get Kashi. I come out and I was like, what does my back window look like that? And I turned my windshield wipers on and I was like, what is this? Looked like the stuff that you, like if you spill water on the base of your freezer and then you scoop it up with a warm paper towel.
Right.
Looked like that. It was slush. It was slush.
That happened.
Oh, it was slush. I was like, Lord, I'm glad I'm not far from home. So I started up. I turned that heat on full blast. I was like, that windshield has got to get defrosted. Girl, do you know by the time I got home, it still wasn't defrosted?
I'm looking right now. It's actually warmed up in New York. It's 33. It was colder before.
Girl, I ran out earlier today. Sun was shining. It was as if nothing ever happened yesterday when there was sleet in the sky.
I'm surprised I didn't hear from you complaining about.
Well, you didn't hear from me because I was like, that didn't happen.
You just ignored the event.
I was like, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, I should have filmed this. It's like, no, you do not want to encourage the universe to continue to do this. That did not happen.
Well, so yeah, so I think we got I think they said we were getting like 3 inches or something today. We still have snow from our last one, but you know, nothing compares to, I'm trying to remember what year it was. It was like maybe 2007 or something, 2008. And it snowed. I don't know. Do you remember that? It snowed. We had this huge ass snowstorm. It snowed so much on my street and I don't live on a main drag. So they don't, if there's a lot of snow, my street gets plowed later. They have to do the big thoroughfares first. The snow drifts were up to my, almost to my head, the top of my head. And I was pet and plant sitting for some friends, and they lived on Coney Island Avenue, like right above Cortell U. So we're talking, you know, from where I live, like 2 blocks. And I went out the first day because I had to go feed their animals, and I spent 15 minutes and I made it past one house, and I said, this is not happening. Like I couldn't. It was crazy. I'd never seen snow like that. It was insane. So
I don't remember. I might be blocking that memory out because I think that I, at that point, might have been living in a house where I shoveled.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I don't want to remember that.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
one of the reasons why I moved to Atlanta, into an apartment building where I don't have to shovel.
You don't have to shovel. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So I feel you.
Right.
So what?
You know what this is?
A temperature thing?
Your body is 93 degrees. It
Does that
is.
work on, does that just work on people, or does that the kind that works on?
Surface, body,
Mm.
and surface. It's just surfaces.
Because
So
I want to get,
Uh-huh.
I want to get one of those for when I make soap. You know, I make soap, and those are better.
For my body butters, because I switched to a different preservative. The preservative that I use now has to be used between 120 and 140 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So during the meltdown process, that's when I put it in there, but it can't be too hot. And I had one of these that broke. So.
Look at how crafty we are.
Making things.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about getting back. I want to talk about getting my COVID test today. So it was my first COVID test. I haven't gotten one before now, because I figured that I was not, you know, I didn't really feel like I had a huge reason to. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was not going to alter my behavior any, you know, and because I'm just being careful about quarantining and stuff, and which is a whole other subject. It's like that I want to bring up today too, but yeah. So, but they opened a place. It's like 2 blocks from me, and they're open on Sundays it's a clinic, and when they're closed for the clinic, they have it open on Sundays for COVID testing. And I went down there. They're open from 9 to 5. I got down there at 10 in the morning, which is early for me, as you know, and I was the only one in there. And yeah, so I put it on Facebook because people need to. The other place that I've tried to go 3 times to this place down further. And yeah, it's just, I haven't been able to get in. The line's been too long. So,
yeah.
So I was a little nervous. It was my first time
You
getting
got the nasal swab?
Yeah. And it wasn't bad. I said to the woman that did it, I said, is this a less invasive test, or are you just really good? Are you really gentle? Because I said, that wasn't bad at all. She said, no, this is it's an easier test now. I didn't feel like they were shoving it way up in my sinus cavity.
Girl, when I got mine, they were like, tickle, 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 tickle.
Yeah.
It was I had everything. It was almost like, have you ever been attacked by like hot peppers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everything started to happen at the same time. I needed to cough and sneeze. And of course, you're maskless in a room with someone doing this test. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but the thing in my nose. She was like, you're not the first person to respond this way. Thank God. Because I was like, it was so bad.
It wasn't super comfortable, but it wasn't bad. So we forgot to do our beverage. So I'm not having a cocktail. I'm having my cocktail is chai tea, which is redundant, I know. But I wanted to show. This is my favorite coffee mug. So it's Peet's Coffee and Tea, and Peet's started in Berkeley, California. Peet's was the first dark roast coffee. Like the guy. This is what I understand. Don't totally quote me on this. I'll fact check it afterwards and put it in the comments. But my understanding is that the guy that started Starbucks worked for the Peet's Coffee guy, and it's spelled P-E-E-T-S, Peet's Coffee. And so, yeah, but it's my favorite coffee. And this is my favorite coffee mug because it's my favorite color, which is dark purple. So I'm having, but yeah, I'm having.
I totally know that mug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Funny thing, you should mention it. You turned me on to Peet's Coffee, and now that's what I buy as my house coffee. I buy the medium roast, which is called Big Bang.
Yeah, because they sell it at Target.
It's so good, though.
Yeah, I like the French roast. And,
you know,
I like their French roast, and I like their Kenya.
Yeah.
So we like Peet's, but yeah. So yeah, the COVID test. So I'll find, get the results in 24 to 48 hours. So we'll see. But it's just weird. It's like I don't know why I'm nervous, but there's something about getting tested for anything that makes me nervous.
Yeah.
But I think, I'm glad that I did it finally.
Can we toast to the folks who are still out here having to work as healthcare workers in dangerous environments because people won't wear their bloody masks?
Yeah, I was thinking, that's a good choice, because I was thinking with the woman that gave me the test, I'm like, how do you, this was just a very minor, like a super small, in comparison to the, people who are working in hospitals, but this is like a very small example of somebody who, not a very small, but I know what I'm trying to say, but not like a super high risk. I mean, but still, like, it's risky, these folks that intentionally put themselves in a place of risk, to serve people, I think I just find that impressive. I just couldn't do it, I'd be too paranoid.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so God bless them, because they, they're doing work that I would have, I don't know if I could do it. So, and besides, I'm squeamish about things like that, about blood and stuff. So yeah, so cheers. And wear your goddamn mask, people. Now they're saying we should double mask. So I double masked today, just because I thought I might be there with other people. There might be other people in the waiting room. And yeah, it just feels crazy.
Yeah, there are, for people who are like, I am not going to double mask because it's uncomfortable, there are 3D printed
Those
silicone
cages.
that you can put inside your mask that keeps the fabric from sucking in when you inhale. Okay. And so as long as your mask fits appropriately and still will fit under your chin. For example, I think one good measure is if you can, oh no, it's probably not the best measure because we're all different that way. But yeah, try the cages, please. Try something. Because I don't want people getting COVID, and folks folks are comfortable with all sorts of risks, right?
Yeah, we all have different risk levels, yeah. Risk tolerance.
People are comfortable. I have a 0.
I know you. I know you do. I know that about you from, before COVID.
Literally have to say to someone in the Whole Foods yesterday, pardon me, sir, I need you to give me about another 2 feet if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Don't stand so close to me.
I don't understand why. It's like, I understand when people kind of forget, because it's hard to keep this stuff in our head. But what I don't understand is when people react negatively when you just remind them, when you're asking them to just, do the stuff they're supposed to be doing.
With his mask like this.
Yeah, I don't get that. It's
I was like,
nonsense.
you're gonna back up off me right now.
Yeah.
Atlanta, man, this is why our numbers are high.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not because it's a crowded metropolis. It's because people are acting willy-nilly stupid. Some people.
I wanted to say too, to kind of change the subject here, but if I you know me lately, like I have to say stuff when I think of it, otherwise I'll never remember it again. I mean, I just have to write everything down now because I'm older, because it's COVID, I don't know. But we had talked last time about this episode would be about asking people what things they see there's a need for in their community, or what things that exist in their community, because we were talking about doing hyper local stuff, and we did not do that because we just didn't, and because we're busy, and because I think I'm scattered, I feel like, and that's why I wanted to say that, because I wanted to lead into a conversation, a little bit of a conversation about how I've had several conversations with people. And it's interesting because, through the pandemic, you and I have talked about this a bunch of times, and we've talked to other people, like sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, literally, because it's just so intense, about like this feeling of just kind of doom and dread and anxiety. And now I don't feel that to that degree. I feel much more motivated now to get things done. But it's just weird. It's like getting back into that mode of you know, functioning, you know. It's like going 0 to 60, you know.
Yeah.
It's very strange, you know. So I have to like figure out how to get back into my my, you know, like some kind of a rhythm so I can get some, actually do some things, you know. But I feel like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, but it's a weird feeling. It's like, I don't know about you, but I mean, you know that I have trouble sleeping. I've talked about that.
Yeah.
But after the election, for about 7 days, I just slept. I slept more than I've slept in probably 2 years. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
I would go to bed. I didn't sleep very well, but then I would kind of sort of toss and turn until like 6 in the morning. And then around 8, I would think, okay, now's a good time to get up. You know, I didn't get quite enough sleep, but you know, it's a good time to start my day, reset my body clock. And then the next thing I would know, it'd be like 2 in the afternoon. And I would have just slept like so hard, you know. I would look at my phone. There were 3 phone calls, which normally wake me up. And my phone was sitting right next to me. But yeah, so that went on for about a week. And so I think I needed that. And now I'm getting back into the not sleeping so well, but I feel like I have so much more motivation to do things now, because it feels like there's hope, you know. There's a possibility that we can make some changes and some, you know, do some good things. So
Yeah,
you know.
it's true. I mean, there have been a couple of times where I've woken up maybe a half an hour later than I really should be getting up, and been like slightly late for work. And those are usually the nights where I don't wake Gustavo throughout the day so that he sleeps all night, because he's an older cat and has trouble. So I have definitely woken up at 9:30 and been like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, because you got a little different deal, because you've got a paying, you know, gig, but you know, full-time job. So you've got to actually show up somewhere, you know, show up at your computer.
Yeah, I have to log in every day. And I like that. Like, I like that my brain is being used, you know, it feels good. But I have to sleep. Like, there's no, like, if there were a couple of times when Gustavo woke up like that at like 2 a.m, and I contemplated literally wrapping him up in a towel and giving him a little bit extra of his pain meds, because they tend to knock him out. Because I was like, dude, do you understand that I'm the one that pays all these bills in this house? Don't play.
That doesn't, he doesn't care. He just expects you to be there for him whenever at his whim, because that's what cats do.
Gustavo!
Yeah. Keep him awake. So I think we should, we haven't talked about this, LaShonda, so I'm gonna surprise you here, but I think we should have we should talk about, maybe talk about a movie or a show that we're watching on each episode, because people are watching so much stuff. And
yeah, people are watching more television.
And I what I wanted to say, whether we do that or not, it's okay, but that I wanted to mention this show that I watched, this movie that I watched, because it was called Spinster, and I can't remember. Do you remember? I know I told you about it. Do you remember the name of the actress that's in it? I can't think of her name, but
I don't.
She's really good, and it was really good. I don't want to give anything away, but the reason that I liked it was it talked about, it was a story of a woman who doesn't do the traditional, I don't know how to explain it. There's the whole, like, you think it's a romantic comedy, so she's going to end up with a guy, and I'm not going to say whether she does or not, because I don't want to give it away. But it's like, that's how the setup is. But really, the thing about the movie is really about her finding her own way, and in a non-traditional. When I say non-traditional, I mean You know, it wasn't, the love story was with herself. And I thought it was really, I really liked it. It got me thinking about how we really kind of decide on women's value based on their relationship status and their motherhood status, you know.
Oh, definitely.
And I was thinking about this part of my stand-up. I talk about, I had this bit where I say, you know, people ask me, it surprises me how people are happy to ask you these really personal questions. Like, people ask me, do I have children? And that's okay. But when I say no, then sometimes people ask me, why not? I'm like, really? And my response is, at least none that I know of. But then I'll say, you know, it doesn't really surprise me so much, I guess, that people want to know if I have kids, but really, how can you ask somebody why they don't have kids? Because I think it's much more important to ask people why they do have kids. That seems like a more monumental decision, right? Because there are all kinds of good reasons, really solid reasons why people don't choose not to have children, like an overuse of third world resource or first world resources, for example. But I don't say that. I tell them the truth, which is I forgot. But it surprises me how, you know, I think that's why I value my friendships with women so much, because I have so many friends who are not, who I have friends who are moms, and that's lovely. And I love being an auntie, but I love my friends too, who don't have kids like me, you know, because there are other ways to find meaning and purpose in your life other than having children.
So many other ways, man. There's just so much. There's other stuff that you can do.
Right. And I think everything. I think being a mom, being a parent is a calling, but I also think that the other types of work that people do is also a calling, and it's just as valuable. And I guess you know, I think we all have a purpose to serve in this life, and that's part of our job as humans, is to figure out what that purpose is.
You know what's interesting though is that mothering, are the act of, you know, taking care of a household that has minor children in it, is devalued to a certain degree. And so I just find that interesting. And I wonder what's been happening, because we saw this trend happening 10 years ago, where there are more and more male identifying parents who are staying home with children.
Right.
So I don't know what's going to happen with people and their weirdness towards which genders are supposed to do which things.
Right.
But I can tell you what I hope. I hope that all that mess goes to the wayside, and people who are caregiving full time are better valued, and are actually, I think that they should be salaried, because that's a job.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And I think we should have. Can you hear my name?
Regardless of their pronoun, it should be valued work that's paid for.
Right.
Because we see differences between people who have parents in the home who are there to care for the children and those who don't. Like, there are social differences between children who have a parent caring for them versus those who have, a hired sitter caring for them.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
But it's not the same. Yeah. And so because of that, if you're someone, folks, have you ever like Googled the parental benefits at European companies?
Yeah.
Girl, they're like, you get 16 weeks off or something crazy.
Parental leave, yeah.
Parental leave.
That's the thing.
Not necessarily for the individual who's giving birth.
Right, but both parents get leave at the beginning.
Both parents
get leave. Yeah. But yeah, I think one of the things that, I told you that I was messaging with your friend Holly. I think we should have her on the show. She's awesome. But yeah, we were chatting because I ordered a scarf from her because LaShonda, of course, was like, how many scarves do you need? And I said, you never have enough scarves. And then of course you said, you told me which one. I asked you which of two I should get, and you said, I want you to get this one so I can borrow it when I'm there visiting you. So I'm like, okay.
So why not? I mean,
no, that's something I would say. That's something I would say. So, always looking out for my own best interest. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
One of my favorite ones.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I also like this as sort of a Miss America style sash.
Well, there you go. And you can put your badges on there, your awards. So yeah, so I ordered, she had the one that we liked, the one that you second my choice on that one. So she had that one available. But we were chatting a little bit because I had to send her my address, and that's cute. And
I feel very much like Edie Grey Gardens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do a soft shoe, honey. Go do the soft shoe.
But we were talking about women and women's roles, and because I sent her some of my stand-up, and she commented on that line that I told you. And then we were going back and forth on that. And I said, at one point, the thing that I find interesting is that we put all this emphasis on women. For women, that's their main role, should be as a mom. But yet we don't support mothers in this. We don't have paid parental leave. We don't have childcare. Companies aren't required to provide childcare. I mean, we don't support women. So women who do go the mom route have a struggle. It's like we're so hypocritical. We say that that's important, but we don't put our money where our mouth is.
And a lot of companies don't actually have,
and our country
parental leave. They have maternity leave,
right?
Which means that if you're not the person who's pregnant, then you don't get that time.
Right.
Don't think that I work for one of those places, though, thank goodness. But
and the maternity leave is for while you're pregnant. It doesn't go very long into being an actual parent.
No, it does not. And you're just sort of expected to either quit or figure it out some way. Right. But
well, we protect babies much more in the womb than we do when they get out in the world. So
when they're out in the world, they're like, well, you better go sell some crack or something, figure it out.
Yeah. It's very, it's very, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much that needs changing in our society right now.
Well, thank goodness we have adults that are working on things now.
I want to be the empress of the universe, I've decided. So I don't want to have to convince people I just want to be able to stand there with my magic wand and make decrees, like, okay, this is the way it's going to be, like no argument, no discussion. Things would be so much better, LaShonda.
Girl, I don't know. They would be like, that's your friend. Would you please ask her to get off of that milk crate?
I would be like, her soapbox.
Let her express herself.
That's right. That's right. She's got the right. Yeah, exactly. That's
like, just let her express herself, because she could get right back into tomorrow. Let her say it. Just let the woman talk.
Yeah. And then if you let her talk, she'll talk and she'll talk herself out till she falls asleep, and then she'll get bored, So you don't have to try to talk her out of it. She'll just, So just let her talk, and then she'll get bored.
Well, here's what actually happens when we talk through these things. Mm-hmm. We come up with a solution. We'll be like, how can we get this implemented? Oh, write to people? Okay, so let's start sending emails.
Yeah.
I've sent a number of emails in my day.
Yeah,
Not all
me too. Me too.
were thank you so much. A bunch of them were. Very recently, I've noticed that.
Oh, and I feel the need to, because I don't remember if I corrected this, because I know when Biden first started, we were commenting on how like he went from he got inaugurated and then he immediately, there was a press conference and he was signing presidential, what do they call them?
Orders, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, I would like him a lot better if one of those was get Angela her stimulus check. And then I found out that that actually was one that he was doing. Like not for Angela, but yeah, because for those of us who it went into a weird account, you know, and they were just that the IRS was saying, well, you can claim it on your 2020 taxes. And he said, no, you've got to get these people their money. I still don't have my money, but are you listening, Joe? Come on, I need my money, but at least, yeah. So he's looking out for people, you know.
I definitely feel that, like, yeah. I think it's important. I mean, the last recession I was ass out, it was the worst.
It was horrible.
The worst. And I will never, ever in my life forget that feeling.
Yeah, it was awful. I mean, you and I we went through that.
We were together during that. So we were like literally right across the street from one another during that whole period.
It would be like, I've got some potatoes, you know, I've got some potatoes. What do you have? You know, like sharing meals and stuff. It was just, and it was, you know, when there was a holiday, you remember when there would be a holiday and so our unemployment money would go in a day late. That was a huge thing. We'd be like, what are we going to, you know, we don't have any money. Like, what are we going to eat? You know, I think in some ways I don't ever want to go through that again. And we're going through something similar now, but not quite the same. But I'm in some ways I'm grateful for that experience because it showed me really my privilege. It showed me how I don't have to. It just like kind of gave me a little inkling of what it's like for a lot of people in this country and on this planet. A lot, like every day, they don't need a pandemic or a recession. You know, they just go through this shit every day. I learned why there are ATMs with $10 that pay out in $10 increments instead of 20s, because sometimes you only have $16 in your checking account. You know, and yeah, and then I learned why there are check cashing places, and I learned why people show up at the cable office to pay their bills because you don't have a checking account. Because if you don't have enough money to have a checking account, you can't get a checking account. And if you don't have direct deposit, you have to pay for a checking account. And some people can't afford that. It's just the thing you don't realize, like how it's really
expensive being poor.
It's exactly, that's what I was going to say. It's very expensive being poor. I had no idea how expensive it was to be poor. Like, it's just, yeah. You don't think about that. Because I remember when I first came to New York and I went to the cable office and I was like, why are all these people paying their bills here? And then I found out because you don't have a checking account. You know, it's and then you got to spend all that time and you got to take a bus and pay for public transportation to pay your cable bill. It's crazy. Yeah. And I'm not saying that
check cashers are alternative financial services companies.
Right.
You know.
And I'm not talking about, I'm not proposing or advocating handouts to people, but what I'm saying is people should at least have an even playing field. You know,
an even playing field would be considered a handout by many in this country.
I know.
I'm here to tell you.
I know. Which is not right.
No, it's not. Right. And if you had a basic income for everyone, then people would be able to do more.
Because the fact is we don't need as many workers now. So much is automated.
Also is that, you know,
we got to make a list of the things that piss us off.
There's no reason that you can't have more people working.
Right.
There's no reason. There's no reason.
Because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done.
The problem is $12 an hour jobs.
Right.
Whose rent you gonna pay with that?
It's not only like
If
not
you
being
have a
able to pay
couple
your
of
bill,
kids,
but you can actually get worse off from a low paying job. That's what people don't realize.
it actually
You
is
know?
happening.
Yeah, me too. It's happened to me.
I actually was better off leaving a job like that in New
Right.
York and moving to a cheaper city.
Right.
I actually was able to live for longer on less money.
Mhm. Right.
Girl, don't get me started on this. Anyway,
Well, it's kind of like
we're pushing into time here.
Yeah, we are. So why don't we ask people, because I'm always about trying to get people involved
I know,
in our
girl.
discussions.
Good luck.
I know. Shonda's like, you deal with that. You deal with that. So what's your big thing? Like, what do you see as what needs to be changed? You know, what would make life more just?
Is the fact that there is a minimum wage. Like the fact that you're basically telling employers that you have to at least pay them this.
Right.
And that is a 15-year-old number. Like,
right, exactly.
Minimum wage should probably be around $25 an hour.
So LaShonda, one of LaShonda's is a you know, a living wage.
An actual minimum wage.
So I want to ask you guys, and I am this time going to come after you, so I expect responses. So what things do you see as being the big issues that need changing? What do we need to, what's going to make even the playing field out a little bit? You know, we're not looking to, eventually we want things to be, you know.
It's going to be Angela coming after y'all. She could be
really
like,
coming after you with my, yeah.
I
will too, LaShonda can say. She will. All right, my friend. So I hope you enjoy your week. I'm glad you got all your stuff done today.
Yeah, me too.
I'm impressed by your industriousness. That's awesome.
Girl, it's so much of this is just passion for and loving this sort of thing.
That's what I love about it. Yeah.
You know, it's mostly that. I'll have to make your order separately though, since I have a container for you, but it's not that one. So I'll have to make another one.
Well, I think you should send me what you have, because I think if you were thinking of it for me, then I probably would like it, and then I'll pay for that. We'll figure out the other one. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, but I love that you're doing this and that you're having so much fun with it. It's great for me to see you having so much fun.
It's so fun. It's actual. I mean, you know, people work really hard and they're like, it's so much fun. This is actual stuff that I love. Like, I love the olfactory parts of figuring out what essential oils work well with others and which mediums are best for them, because every fragrance doesn't transfer well to each medium. Like I've learned that through making these products. Like there are certain combinations that work really well as a scrub, but as a cream, not so much, you know, and vice versa. So it'll be interesting because, you know, I've literally filled the orders that people have asked for, but I also know that some of those combos in the mediums that they were requested for may or may not be as pleasing as they think that they will be.
You're inspiring me to get back to my soap making.
Girl, make those soaps. Make moisturizing soap. Don't make Ivory.
No, I make well, that's not, Ivory's not soap. That's the thing people don't get.
What is Ivory?
Most of what you buy in the store, if you buy a bar soap, that's soap. That's real soap. But all liquid soaps are not soaps. They're detergents. Because in order to have real soap, you need to have an interaction. I could talk about this forever, so don't get me started with this. But in order to make real soap, an interaction between lye and a fat.
Yeah.
in an oil or fat. So so most liquid soaps that you buy in the store are not soap at all. They're detergent. They're just, so
Was
yeah.
thinking of Ivory, I was thinking Ivory, the really hard bar soap. Like, I'll never forget giving a friend who was visiting one of those Good Deed sort of soaps from Whole Foods. And she was like, what is this tub of lye that you just gave me to wash myself with? She was
There's
like,
no lye. There's no lye in soap when you buy it. When you're done with it, there's no lye left. Because
right. But what she was saying is that the soap was so stripping of everything. And I was, I don't have that problem because I moisturize often and a lot. And then, so if I get in the shower and I use that soap, it's fine, because after that, I'm going to use a handmade scrub that I made. And then when I jump out of the shower, I'm going to put on a moisturizer. So that soap doesn't really matter all that much.
Right. Well, yeah, I think with bar soap, I've made bar soap, but I don't really make bar soap much, because you can get really good bar soap in the store. You can't get really good liquid soap because, like I said, it's not real soap for the most part. So, and also you're paying for a lot of water with liquid soap and plastic. But it's a very different process making liquid soap. With a bar soap, what you do is you mix the fat and the lye, and then you pour it into a mold, and then it cures over a period of time. So you have to do some work to get it to a thick paste, not paste, but like a thick consistency. And then you pour it into a mold, and then it finishes curing while it's in the mold. So that's how it gets hard, and then it gets the rest of the lye out. But with liquid soap, what you have to do is you cure it as you cook it, and then you end up with a paste, and then you have to add water back into the paste. You add water to the paste to make the liquid soap.
Yeah.
So it's much more, you have to be much more, you have to be exactly right with your measurements between the lye and the oil, because otherwise you're going to end up with cloudy soap or soap that just doesn't work. There's a lot more room for error with liquid soap. It's harder, which is why I think if they sold real liquid soap in stores, it would be super expensive. But it's fun. It's kind of like, it's like doing crafts and chemistry at the same time. So that's fun.
Yeah, my making body butters is sort of the same. Like, I took a formulary course online, and because there's water in my body butter products, because water is is an essential ingredient for actually adding moisture to your skin. So there's water and butter, but what you get in the store for lotions and even some butters, it's mostly water.
Right.
So it's usually like 80% water, right? And then 20% other things. And then a long list of chemicals. Well, mine is 70-30, 70% butter, cream, and other ingredients, and then 30% water.
Right.
It's a
I hardly wait to try it out. Because I hear about I hear about how great it smells and how great it feels, but I don't get to actually experience it because I don't have any yet.
Girl, listen,
just giving you grief.
You can pay for some shipping, girl.
I could do that, and I will. All right, so I think we're yeah. So you're gonna have to talk most of the time next week, because I talked a lot today, but I just have a lot of stuff on my mind. So what the hell are you? Is that your back?
Get yourself a fascial gun.
Dude, that looks like something we would see in Sex in the City.
No, this is for your shoulders and for your lower back. It has a vertebrae attachment that sort of looks like field goals at the football thing, the football games, the football thing. I'm not a sports ball girl. I do enjoy soccer though, but like, I might have a little sore shoulder, so this works everything out.
Okay, I'm going to say one thing that's totally
Wow.
separate from what you're talking about. Here's something that people can respond to. So I say the best Super Bowl halftime show ever was Prince. And I would ask people if they disagree with me to tell me what their favorite Super Bowl halftime show was. But you're probably not going to change my mind because that was the most amazing. Did you ever see that, LaShonda? It was amazing.
I don't remember these things from year to year because
It was
usually,
amazing.
yeah, I'm sure it was because Prince is
It was
amazing.
because Prince, and because it was in the middle of a huge rainstorm, and he's up there with his electric guitar,
Oh,
and it's
I
pouring
think I have
rain.
seen this.
And the guy that put together the show was calling him before the show, before the game, and he said, you know, it's supposed to rain. And Prince is like, yeah. And he goes, well, you're going to be up there with like on a slippery surface, and your dancers are be wearing these heels, and you're going to be playing electric guitar. And he's like, yeah. And they said, do you want, you know, are you okay with going on? He said, I want it to rain more. I want it to rain more. So yeah, it's awesome.
He was
So anyway, well,
okay.
have a good Monday,
Well, thank you.
and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
And so I'll let you start the sign off.
Okay. I'm LaShonda.
And I'm Angela. And together we're a Black woman and a white woman walk into a bar. Everybody have a great week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Get yourself a massager. It's good.
I'll have to do that.
Bye.
Bye. I can't find the stop recording button. There we go.